Hey, what's up guys, it's Kelly, and today I am sharing some Scribd recommendations as well as my own personal TBR. If you find yourself enjoying this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps me out, and if you're new here and would like to see more of me, then please subscribe. So Scribd is an app where you can listen to audiobooks, you can read ebooks, and I think it's normally about $6 a month, but in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that a lot of people are self-isolating or in quarantine, Scribd is offering people worldwide a free 30-day membership. I want to stress this isn't a trial. If you just download the Scribd app and log in, it'll probably offer you a free 30-day trial where you have to input your credit card details. Been burned like that before. So I am going to try to find the link to the free membership and leave that in the description, and if you follow that link then you don't have to put your credit card details in. It's just going to give you the 30-day membership without any risk on your side of you accidentally forgetting to cancel your membership like I did with Spotify. So I have never had a Scribd membership. I tried to download the app once before I realised it wasn't free, and it wasn't actually available in my country, and then I found out that you had to pay for it, and to be honest, now that it is available in my country, I can't afford it, but I figured I can't like pass up the opportunity for this 30-day free membership, right? Because Scribd has the most amazing selection. I normally use Overdrive because my library is linked to that, but Overdrive doesn't have a great selection. Scribd does. So today I thought I would share with you guys my recommendations for excellent audiobooks that are available on Scribd currently, and also my personal TBR of things that I'm going to try to listen to while I have this 30-day membership to take advantage of. So I would highly recommend the Series of Unfortunate Events audiobooks. I mean, I love these books just as a whole. It's one of my all-time favourite series. I think that it's amazing. I think the writing is great. I love the characters. I think the story is excellent. I love the world. I really, really love Lemony Snicket, so would highly recommend just reading A Series of Unfortunate Events if you haven't already, but 10 out of 10 would recommend the audiobooks. The Bad Beginning, up until this point, has been like my go-to audiobook recommendation because it is phenomenal. I checked up until about book 6, and at least that far all of them are read by Tim Curry, so I would assume that he reads the whole series. And he is phenomenal. I mean, he has that like perfectly somewhat creepy voice that's just like perfect for Lemony Snicket, who obviously in addition to being the author is also the narrator of the books. So yeah, Tim Curry's narration is just fantastic. So in addition to these being phenomenal books, the audiobook experience of them is just phenomenal. So I've listened to the whole of The Bad Beginning. I'm currently listening to The Reptile Room, and I'm hoping to get through actually just all 13 books, because I love the series so much and it's been so long since I've read it that this is going to be my moment. Then honestly I would recommend anything by Sophie Kinsella, just because she is such a cheering author. Like, it's impossible to listen to a Sophie Kinsella book and not be happy, or to read a Sophie Kinsella book and not be happy. They're really quick reads, really fun reads, like perfect escapist fluff, so would highly, highly recommend. The Shopaholic series, most of it seems to be on Scribd, so I'm going to be listening to those. I really enjoyed the audiobook of I've Got Your Number. They have 20s Girl on there as well. I think they have Can You Keep a Secret, so really, really would recommend checking out some Sophie Kinsella if you are desperately needing something that's just going to cheer you up and pull you out of your funk, because I know a lot of people's mental health is suffering at this time, and I think that listening to something really just happy and uplifting and ridiculous is a mood booster that we all need. Then, oh my gosh, cannot recommend the audiobook of Caroline highly enough. Caroline is another book that I just love, and if you haven't read it, would recommend that you just read the book. But the audiobook is narrated by Neil Gaiman himself, and just, you have to listen to it. It is exceptional. Cannot recommend the Caroline audiobook enough. It's really short too. I think it's only about 2 hours. I think I listened to it like one night before I was going to bed, and oh, love it so much. And Neil Gaiman's voice is just like butter melting on a hot skillet. Like, it's, oh, it is perfection. Then I would also recommend the audiobook of The Scorpio Races. So to be fair, I haven't listened to the whole audiobook, but I did listen to enough of it just to get a feel for the male voice who voices Sean and the female voice who voices Puck, and I really enjoyed both of them. This is just an amazing story. I don't think I ever uploaded my Scorpio Races review because I think I tried filming it like 3 times and just it wasn't working, so I can't really direct you to that. So The Scorpio Races is a standalone book by Maggie Stiefvater, and it's set on this really tiny island, I'm assuming off the coast of the UK, because just of like the place names and the people's names and the mythology, it seems very British. So it's set on this tiny island, and every year on the 1st of November they have the Scorpio Races, which are these horse races that take place along the beach on this tiny island. And this is also like a magical place where they can pull water horses out from the sea, and these water horses are incredibly fast, like nothing is faster than them, but they're also super violent, they're very difficult to tame. So if you can tame one of these, you're gonna win the Scorpio Races no problem, but chances are good you're actually just gonna die if you try to tame one of these. So our story follows Puck, who is a young girl, I think she's about 15 or 16, and her parents are dead, it's just her and her brothers, and their house is about to be foreclosed, and she is determined that she is going to win the Scorpio Races this year because she needs that prize money to save their house. On the other side we have Sean, who is currently the reigning Scorpio Races champion. He is exquisitely gifted with horses. He's pretty much the only person on the island who has a gift with the water horses, and he is determined to win because with the prize money he can buy the horse that he's been using to race, because he just desperately wants to own this horse. It is like his only friend in the world. So we have these two characters, both of whom have really strong reasons for needing to win the race, who then start to develop a relationship, start to develop a friendship, and start to work together. And it's just a really beautiful story about friendship and love and family, and I love Maggie Stiefvater's writing so much. It's so atmospheric. It's just a beautiful story, and I highly recommend it. And now you can listen to the audiobook. Sorry about the angle change, I just had to change my battery. So next on my list of recommendations is the Chronicles of Narnia series by C.S. Lewis. I love these books so much. They've been such a big part of my life. They were such a big part of my childhood. They mean so much to me, and if you haven't already read them, I feel like now is the time. You're holed up in your house, you have plenty of time. Read a 7-book series. I mean, all the books are like so big, they're super short, but just cannot recommend the series enough. It is a beautiful interweaving of mythology and religious allegory, and has the most exceptional writing. And Narnia is just the most beautiful world. Like, I think a lot of us credit Percy Jackson with our love of mythology, and yes, Percy Jackson was a contributing factor for me as well, but like, Narnia is where it started. I was obsessed with like all the mythical creatures and finding out what parts came from Roman mythology, what parts came from Greek mythology, which, fun fact, J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were really good friends. A lot of people know that, and they were part of a writing group called, I think they were called the Inklings, and they used to meet in this little pub in London. Why do I want to say Oxford? Probably in Oxford. They used to meet in this little pub, and they would talk about their writing, talk about their work, and although Tolkien and Lewis were super good friends, Tolkien was like very anti Lewis's melding of mythologies. He was like, you have to pick one, you have to speak about Roman mythology or Greek mythology, you can't just, take little bits from wherever you want. And C.S. Lewis was like, dude, just let me do my thing. So there's your fun literary fact of the day. So yeah, I got super into mythology, and this is where it started, and I just wanted to know about all of the mythological creatures, and I was a happy little bean. So 10 out of 10 would recommend Narnia. Now, haven't actually listened to the audiobooks. I rented the audiobooks from my library once, like way back in the day, and started listening to them, and this is my brain for you. I think at that point I had read the books once, and I started listening to this audiobook and I was like, this is not how the book is written. Bearing in mind now, I was like 10 or 11, and there's little me being like, the sentence structure and the types of language used, this is not C.S. Lewis's writing. Turns out they were the abridged ones, and they weren't just abridged, they'd been like rewritten and dramatized. Tried listening to those audiobooks, and TBH would not recommend. Wasn't my favourite listening experience. So here's where you need to watch out, because Scribd does have the abridged audiobooks as well, but they also have the full audiobooks, which are the ones that I would recommend. So these covers that I've got over here, these are the thumbnails you need to look for if you look for the Narnia books on Scribd. These are the actual audiobooks, and then the other ones do actually say abridged on them, but yeah, those are the abridged ones, which would not recommend. So yes, I haven't actually listened to this set of audiobooks, but let me just tell you. Book 1, narrated by Kenneth Branagh. Book 7, narrated by Patrick Stewart. And books 2 through 6, don't remember who they were narrated by, but did listen to samples of all of them, and they were all exceptional. So 10 out of 10 would recommend the Narnia series as well. I feel like I'm putting a lot on my plate to try to listen to in a month, but I would really like to reread the Narnia series with this cast of narrators as well, because I need to listen to Kenneth Branagh reading The Magician's Nephew. It has to happen. And then, so I've already discussed how I would like to listen to 12 Series of Unfortunate Events audiobooks. I have also added that I would like to listen to 7 Narnia audiobooks. I'd also pretty much like to listen to as much of Sophie Kinsella as is on Scribd, and I probably would like to listen to the Scorpio Races. And who am I kidding, I am always up for a Caroline reread, although luckily that is available on Overdrive, so that's not like a time sensitive thing for me. But just what I've mentioned to you is easily more than a month's worth of audiobook listening, right? In addition to all of these rereads that I want to do, I've also decided to put together a Scribd TBR for myself, which are all the books that I would like to read that Scribd has available, and I was like, hey, let me take advantage of this time. I don't know where I think I'm getting the time to listen to all of this stuff, but anyway, this is what I would like to read from Scribd. So the Le Guin Along is starting next week, which is an Ursula Le Guin read-along, and the first book that they're reading is The Left Hand of Darkness, which I have never read. So they do have the audiobook on Scribd, and I'm thinking about picking up the audiobook as a way of reading it, because I have already done my Owls TBR for next month, and I could probably find a way to weave Left Hand of Darkness into that, but also I'm pretty happy with my TBR and I don't really want to change anything, and I'm also not sure I can add another physical book onto that TBR, so time for the audio. Then I would really like to read Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and they do have the audiobook of that on Scribd, so I'm quite keen to listen to that, and then if I do finish that, then I might try to carry on to Wayward Son as well. And also, fun fact, if you speak Welsh, they have the audiobook of Carry On available in Welsh. I thought, let me just listen to a sample before I decide if I actually want to carry this, like to put this on my TBR, and this lady started speaking, and I was like, you're saying words, but are you? And then I had decided I really wanted to participate in the Cosmere Along, which is a Brandon Sanderson readathon, because I really want to read the Cosmere books. And the first book for this readathon was Elantris, which the live show discussing Elantris is in this coming week, and I still haven't read it, so put that onto my Scribd TBR. I have put a lot of high fantasy on here, and So the only adult fantasy I've ever tried to listen to on audio was The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett, and it was not a good time. It did not work well for me. However, I've also since been told that The Colour of Magic is pretty much the worst place to start with the Discworld books, so I'm like, is it because I have terrible listening skills, or is it just because I was trying to read the wrong book? So holding thumbs that I do actually manage to listen to Left Hand of Darkness, Elantris, and the next book on my TBR without completely losing half of the story. And then I am also, no surprise, super far behind in the Elderling-along, which is this year's round of the Catch-Up Book Club. The idea is to read all of Robin Hobb's books, and the first book was The Assassin's Apprentice, which I think was a February-March book. So yes, in theory I've still got a week to read it, but also have had like 7 weeks to read it and haven't, so am I actually going to read it? We shall see. But yeah, one of my big goals for this year is to participate in more read-alongs, so... And then the last book on my TBR is, well, the last series on my TBR is the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. I kind of gave up on the Shadowhunter series. I read The Mortal Instruments, and then I remember one day at work tried to start the Infernal Devices, but got bored like one page in and put it down, and I think I picked up a Percy Jackson graphic novel, so in hindsight I don't think it was necessarily that I didn't like the Infernal Devices. I think I just didn't want to read something that like had that many words. And then The Dark Artificers came out, and I was like, yeah, I mean, they sound good, but do I care? I'm not sure that I do though, because by that point so much time had passed since I'd read The Mortal Instruments, and I'd really just got over the Shadowhunter world. But now Chain of Gold is coming out, and it sounds amazing, and it is really, really pretty, and I've requested a review copy, but I need to read the Infernal Devices so that I can read Chain of Gold if I do in fact get the review copy, so that I can review it. So there is a bit of a time crunch on that, because if this book gets sent to me, I need to have reviewed it within 6 weeks. So I need to read Chain of Gold, which is also like a mammoth chunker of a book, plus the entire Infernal Devices series, so I figured audio was the way to do it. And also, the first book is narrated by Jennifer Eel, who has the most lovely, soothing voice, and the second book is narrated by Ed Westwick, who, I mean, I'm here for Chuck Bass reading fantasy to me, and the third book was by a name that I didn't recognise, but also, like, the sample bit sounded fine. Also, if you enjoy Jennifer Eel's voice, on her Instagram she's been reading Pride and Prejudice, which is just, if you guys don't know, she was Elizabeth in the, was it 95? In the BBC miniseries version of Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth, and she's been reading Pride and Prejudice on her Instagram Live, and it is amazing. I'm not sure if it'll still be up. I mean, she's doing like a chapter every day, I think, and they don't stay up. It's an Instagram Live, so you know it's up, and then I think it stays up for like 24 hours afterwards, and then it disappears. So hopefully by the time I upload this video she is actually still busy doing them. But if you love Pride and Prejudice and you love Jennifer Eel, head over to her Instagram and just bask in some of her lovely soothing voice reading Pride and Prejudice to you, because it is fan-freaking-tastic. So I'm a little out of breath now. Those are my Scribd recommendations and my Scribd TBR. The next 30 days are just going to be like audiobook central. No podcasts, no Netflix, just all audiobooks all the time, so that I can try to make a dent in my TBR and also the 10 million books that I want to reread. So that is it from me today. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, if you did enjoy this, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to. Feel free to leave me your own Scribd recommendations in the comments, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye!
My life is grounded in a firm routine of coffee, sleep, and work. I am not